Every night, as we drift beyond the edges of wakefulness, a delicate curtain falls between the world we know and a world woven entirely within us. Behind that curtain, stories bloom, sometimes strange, sometimes familiar, sometimes forgotten as soon as we open our eyes. But have you ever wondered, why do these dreams come to us every night? Are they whispers from the mind? Gentle rehearsals for tomorrow? Or perhaps secret messages hidden in the folds of sleep? Tonight, we will wander together through this question, following where science has gently lit the path, while keeping in our hearts the timeless mystery that dreams always carry. Chapter 1 is the curtain of night. Close your eyes for just a moment and imagine the world around you growing softer, as though someone had dimmed the lights on the stage of the day. The chatter of your thoughts begins to step back like an orchestra packing away its instruments after a performance. Somewhere between wakefulness and rest, a curtain begins to draw, and behind that curtain dreams are waiting. Every single night, without asking for permission, our minds create this other world. A world of colors, shapes, whispers, journeys, laughter, and sometimes even confusion. We step inside, wander, play, stumble, soar, and then return almost as if nothing happened. Sometimes we carry with us fragments, a feather of memory, the warmth of a forgotten hug, the trace of an impossible place. More often, though, the dream dissolves like mist at sunrise, but the question hovers gently above us. Why? Why do we dream every single night? Why does the mind, already busy, already magnificent during the day, take this hidden midnight job of spinning stories behind our eyes? For centuries, people have asked this question. Philosophers thought dreams were secret messages from the gods. Shamans called them paths to hidden worlds. Poets believed them to be the breaths of the soul. And later, scientists stepped quietly into the mystery, bringing with them wires, machines, lights, and studies, hoping ever so carefully to reveal the secret song that the mind hums in sleep. The story begins in a very ordinary way, with you lying down, eyes closing, the body surrendering its weight to the bed. What seems on the outside like a still, silent act is, on the inside, a symphony. The heart slows, the breathing deepens. Inside the brain, highways of neurons flicker. Slowly, like water flowing from one pool to another, your consciousness retreats from its daytime patterns. You are entering stages of sleep, the gentle descent from the shallow doze into the deeper caves of rest. And then the dreams arrive, not all at once, not in a dramatic explosion. More like a quiet play that gets performed again and again throughout the night. Scientists call this stage REM sleep rapid eye movement, where your eyes flicker beneath closed lids as if you were watching something only you can see. It's in this REM stage that most of your vivid dreams unfold. But here is where science leans in and whispers an answer. We dream every night because the brain needs to. It is not an accident. It is not idle play. It is, in fact, a vital act of restoration and repair. When you dream, your brain is sifting through the events of your day, choosing which memories to keep and which ones to let gently fade. Like a librarian, it decides, this goes into the archive, this belongs in the recycle bin. The emotions you felt, the sorrow, the laughter, the stress, the joy, are brought into dreams so that your mind may untangle them. Think of it like this. During the day, you are constantly collecting threads. Every conversation, every sight, every thought. Threads. At night, the brain takes these threads into its invisible loom. Dreams are the weaving process. Some tapestries look confusing, patchy, even surreal. Others look meaningful and bright. But in the act of weaving, the mind is organizing your inner world. Without that weaving, the threads would tangle. Imagine waking with all of yesterday still clinging to you, raw and unprocessed, with nowhere to go. Dreams are the mind's way of gently cleaning and restoring us, as though we've been polished overnight, ready to face a brand new day. But we are not only talking about sorting. No, bedtime scientists say there is more, much more. Dreams are also rehearsals. Yes, rehearsals. The mind, in its playful and secret way, acts almost like a stage director. It places you in situations, some joyful, some scary, some completely nonsensical. And inside those stories, you practice. You practice dealing with fear. You practice solving puzzles. You practice facing sadness. Even when the dream feels odd and disconnected, your brain is simulating possibilities, like a flight simulator for the soul. So you see, science says the secret is this: dreams are not frivolous. They are practice grounds, emotional workshops, and memory vaults. But is that all? Perhaps not. Because still, when we close our eyes, dreams carry with them a magic beyond the biology that no microscope or machine fully explains. Think of the dreams that have inspired great ideas. The scientist who dreamt of a strange snake biting its own tail and awoke to discover the structure of benzene. The musician who awoke with a melody in his head, a forgotten gift from the dream world. So many discoveries, inventions, artworks, and stories born not in daylight, but in the midnight theater of dreams. Can we truly say those dreams are only sorting of memories? Or do they hint at something greater, some deep flowing underground river of creativity and intuition that spills out when the gates of consciousness open? This is where the story deepens. Science provides its gentle torchlight, showing us the machinery, the patterns, the stages. But beyond the torchlight, there is still mystery, a mystery that is soothing, not frightening. A mystery that makes us feel that perhaps sleep is more than rest. It is a nightly voyage back to the source of imagination. Now, dear listener, as you let these thoughts drift around you like quiet lanterns, your own eyelids may grow heavy. That's no accident either. For even talking, even wondering about dreams, awakens that natural drowsy rhythm, as if your body remembers. Ah, yes, I have a date with my own midnight theater soon. The curtain of night is waiting for you, and behind it another story is ready to be told. The secret of why we dream is not one answer, but many. Science whispers about memory, about restoration, about rehearsal, and the soul whispers about creativity, mystery, and a place beyond reason. Both whispers belong to you. Both truths wait for you every single evening. So tonight, as you close your eyes, remember that in your dreams you are not merely resting. You are librarians and artists, travelers and performers, learners and healers. Each dream, no matter how fleeting, is part of your lifelong midnight education. And so begins our story, where science lights its lamps and imagination keeps the shadows soft. Together, they will lead us deeper into the secrets of dreams. Now that we've stepped through the curtain of night together, let us linger a little longer in this hidden chamber where dreams are born. We've heard the first whisper of science, that dreams are the brain as method of keeping order, of sorting and rehearsing, of healing and weaving. But the story doesn't end there. No, the story of why we dream every night is more like a winding river with many sparkling bends and reflections to marvel at before it meets the sea. Imagine for a moment that your mind is a kind of ancient city. During the day, sunlight fills its streets. Merchants move busily with carts of new memories, messengers bring words, and emotions hurry past in colorful robes. By evening, the city is weary, its streets cluttered with the footprints of activity, its buildings vibrating with stories not yet told. Sleep, then, is when the city closes its gates. The torches are lit, the doors are bolted, and the bustling streets grow quiet. And in that gentle darkness, cleaners sweep the pathways, scholars select which scrolls to store in the libraries, and actors rehearse in empty public squares. This is the city's dream, a process of restoring order, preparing for what tomorrow will demand. The beauty is that your brain does this every single night, without fail, no matter how long your day has been, no matter whether you remember your dream upon waking or not. Even if you insist, but I don't dream at all, the truth is you do. The show always happens, though some audiences simply slip out of the theater without recalling the performance. Now, if you stand inside that ancient city and listen very carefully, science identifies several watchtowers that guard through different stages of the night. The first tower is light sleep, that drowsy stage where the body slowly unwinds, like a violin string being loosened. Muscles twitch softly, and thoughts flutter in and out like moths. The second tower is deep sleep, sometimes called slow wave sleep. Here, the city is at its quietest, its energy restored most completely. Through this stage, your immune system repairs itself, your body heals, your heart rests. And then comes the most curious tower of all, REM sleep. Here, the city bursts back into life, but not with daylight bustle. Instead, the lamps flicker with strange colors. Actors run rehearsals of plays never performed before. Memories turn into slippery mosaics. This is the time of most vivid dreaming. Your eyes, beneath your closed lids, dart this way and that, as if you are watching the performance unfold on some invisible screen. It is during REM sleep, scientists now tell us that creativity is at its richest. The part of the brain that controls logic becomes more relaxed, while the parts responsible for emotion and vivid imagery switch on like lanterns. Imagine a painter who has always been told to stay inside the lines, suddenly given a vast blank canvas and unlimited colors. The result may be dazzling or messy, but it is always inventive. This explains why sometimes your dreams feel like chaotic puzzles, but at other times they bring startling clarity. Some people wake having solved problems that troubled them. Others wake with strange new images that later inspire poems, inventions, or artwork. The dreaming mind does not know the limits we place in waking life. It is a playground where the imagination is free to leap fences and tumble into unexpected discoveries. Of course, the ancients, though they lacked today's laboratories, could feel this truth in their bones. The Greeks believed dreams were messages from the divine. Indigenous cultures often saw them as bridges to spiritual knowledge. And Freud, controversial but undeniably influential, called them the royal road to the unconscious, suggesting that dreams are symbols pointing, used toward hidden feelings and desires. Whether or not every dream carries such weight, one truth cannot be denied. They offer us a private language, a nightly story written by us for us. Even when we forget them, they leave traces in the way we process emotion and face the daylight again. So why do we dream every night? Here's how science arranges it. To consolidate memories, carefully choosing what to keep. To process emotions, gently untangling the knots of joy and sorrow. To practice scenarios, a kind of mental rehearsal for challenges and fears. To spark creativity, freeing the imagination from the cage of waking logic. To restore the mind, allowing us to return refreshed for tomorrow's light. And yet, beyond this list, there is still a hush of mystery humming softly underneath. Because for every machine that measures brain waves, for every study conducted under sterile laboratory lights, there are still dreams that defy categorization. The dream of a loved one's voice long after they're gone. The dream of flying, felt so vividly you wake with wind still in your chest. The dream that feels like a story you've walked into before, though you cannot place where. Science, patient and humble, admits these mysteries remain. And perhaps that is as it should be. For if dreams gave away all their secrets, what magic would be left for the night? So now, let us pause together in the soft music of this realization that each time we lay our heads down, we are not merely shutting off the day, not merely collapsing into oblivion. We are entering one of the greatest creative adventures mankind has ever known, an adventure so commonplace we sometimes forget its wonder. Every night, without fail, your mind writes stories that only you could write. And though you may not always remember the tailies when morning comes, it does not mean the dream did not do its work. The dreaming mind restores you quietly, invisibly, ensuring you are ready for another day beneath the sun. So, as this first chapter closes, think of tonight not as an ordinary night of sleep. Think of it as a ticket and admission into your own private theater. You will take your seat as lights dim, and somewhere inside you, actors will take the stage. Scientists can explain the set pieces, the mechanics, the rhythms of the stage, ... but only you will ever know the feeling of the play. That is the secret. Every night, dreams open the curtain because the human soul has endless stories to tell. Chapter 2 is the dreaming mind's canvas. When the curtain of night has fallen and the body lies still, the mind secretly becomes an artist. Its brushes dip into 1,000 colors, some drawn from memories, some from imagination, some from places so far within us that even daylight cannot reach them. The dream begins as a faint sketch, a doorway that appears in a hallway you know too well, or perhaps the sound of a voice that belongs to no one you've met. Little strokes build upon each other until suddenly a scene unfolds. You are walking, talking, flying, running, sometimes calmly, sometimes with urgency, sometimes in the strangest of landscapes. And all of it feels real while it lasts. Scientists observing this dream canvas marvel at its richness. They note how the visual cortex comes alive, painting vivid images behind closed eyes. They describe how the hippocampus, the memory keeper of the brain, supplies pieces of past experiences, the cafe you visited last week, the scent of rain from your childhood. Meanwhile, the amygdala, the emotional lamp of the mind, burns brightly, giving dreams their emotional power. Joy, fear, longing, curiosity, all glowing like colored lanterns hung across an invisible night market. Yet, even with all their equipment, science cannot capture the texture of dreaming because that belongs to you. Take, for instance, the dream of flying. Millions of people across the world report dreams where their bodies lift effortlessly, gliding through air with no care for gravity. Neuroscientists may say it is simply because the motor cortex, which normally controls movement, is firing in playful patterns. But the dreamer knows that in those moments, they are tasting a freedom not always possible in waking life, an echo of longing, or perhaps a memory of something the body never knew but the soul remembers. Or think of the dream of being chased. The pounding footsteps behind you, the urgent need to run. Science says this is the brain rehearsing fear and testing responses, ensuring we are prepared in case danger comes. But the storyteller within us knows the scene is larger than fear alone. Sometimes the pursuer is faceless because the true chase is internal, running from memories, from responsibilities, or from truths not yet ready to face the light. Such as the poetic duality of dreams, both brain simulation and symbolic mirror. This is why many traditions across history revered dreams as sacred communication. In ancient Egypt, dream interpreters were called upon to read these nightly messages. Entire temples were dedicated to the practice of dream incubation, where seekers would sleep with the intention of receiving guidance from the gods. The dream was never dismissed as random. It was weighed with reverence, treated as a lantern from beyond the veil. And yet, even in their reverence, these traditions match what modern science whispers. Dreams are deeply personal. Each one is painted not only by external events, but also by the library of your mind. Your emotions, your unique perception of the world. Two people may dream of rain. To one, it is comfort, the lulling rhythm of childhood afternoons. To the other, it is sorrow, a reminder of a farewell. The canvas is the same element rain, but the soul mixes its own paint. The curious thing, though, is how universal some dreams seem to be. The dream of falling, the dream of appearing in public unprepared, the dream of teeth crumbling, the dream of arriving at a place that seems familiar but isn't. Scientists suggest these are simply common patterns of the mind processing shared forms of stress. But the deeper imagination might wonder, could it be that these are archetypes? Images imprinted on all humans, symbols ticking at the very core of our shared existence? Carl Jung thought so. He called them the collective unconscious, a shared imagery that surfaces through dreams like patterns stitched into the fabric of humanity itself. So here, under this starry canopy of exploration, we see two truths again dancing together. Dreams are brain functions, yes, but they are also storybooks, personal, cultural, collective. And every night they reappear. The scientist measures waves. The dreamer feels meaning. Both hold part of the secret. Now, picture yourself as the dream artist. Each night you are given a blank canvas. Sometimes you choose soft pastel scenes of peace, laughter, and golden sunlight spread across fields of impossible flowers. Other times, shadows creep in, darker colors spilling across the frame. The shadows are not enemies. They are simply emotions awaiting expression. Your dreaming artist paints with both light and shadow, because the masterpiece requires both. And when you wake, even if you don't recall the dream, the canvas is still painted. The emotions have been expressed, the memory sifted, the creativity rehearsed. It is as though you have attended a night school where the lessons are always remembered in your body, if not in your mind. You, Emma, and every listener snuggled beneath their blankets are nightly artists in secret. And this is why we must dream every night. If a night passed without it, the canvas would remain blank, the emotions would stay tangled, the threads unspun. We would carry heaviness, lose clarity, and stumble into daylight without our hidden rehearsal. Scientists know this too. In studies, people deprived of early dreaming grow restless, irritable, confused. Some feel as though reality itself blurs when the dream theater is not allowed to open its doors. The conclusion is simple: the play must go on. And so, every single evening, as surely as the moon waxes and wanes, you are handed brushes, canvases, and colors. Without fail, the dreaming mind paints. Sometimes it paints a masterpiece you will remember vividly upon waking. Sometimes it paints only for itself, quietly folding the canvas away before dawn. But always, the painting is done. This, perhaps, is the gentlest secret. Dreaming each night is not a choice, but a need woven so tightly into the human condition that even silence and darkness cannot untie it. And as you let this thought cradle you, remember the next dream. Whether vivid or forgotten, whether soft or intense, will always be another brushstroke in the grand painting of your life story. If you close your eyes now and imagine drifting gently beyond the border of wakefulness, you may sense the humming energy of the brain at work, even as the body lies quiet. It is as though two worlds exist at once, the hushed stillness of sleep and the wild, vibrant landscapes painted by your dreaming mind. What strange places dreams carry us to. Sometimes they are grounded, echoing familiar streets or faces. At other times, they open doors to realms where logic and gravity take vacations. One moment you are walking through your childhood home. The next you are flying over oceans of violet mist, until the ground below transforms into a field of clocks, each ticking at its own peculiar rhythm. Scientists call these shifts associative leaps. The dreaming brain, freed from daytime strictness, links together fragments of memories and sensations in unexpected ways. One neuron sparks another, firing like a string of lanterns igniting down a darkened alley. The mind creates not with blueprints, but with improvisation, each detail shaping the next. This improvisation is why even surreal dreams feel natural while we're inside them. Waking logic goes to sleep. Dream logic takes over. And yet the dreamer knows that strangeness carries meaning. Perhaps not always in literal form, but in the emotional textures we notice. The chase dream says something about anxiety. The flying dream something about freedom. The dream of arriving late or unprepared whispers of self-doubt. Like poems, dreams speak not in direct instructions, but in metaphors. Here enters the fascinating world of recurring dreams. Have you had one? A dream that returns again and again, sometimes across years, with only minor differences in setting or cast. Many people have. It may be the dream of falling through endless air, the dream of being lost in a labyrinthine place, the dream of searching for something but never finding it. Science explains recurrence as the mind revisiting unresolved emotions. Just as a musician plays the same melody until the song is mastered, the brain rehearses the same scenarios until the heart has absorbed the lesson. Each repeat is a gentle nudge. Look again, feel again, understand again. But from another angle, recurring dreams feel like chapters from a longer story we've forgotten we were writing. They remind us that dreaming does not end when the alarm clock rings. It threads through our lives like an underground stream, surfacing from time to time to show that it is still flowing beneath the soil of our consciousness. And then there are lucid dream streams in which the sleeper becomes aware, midway through, that they are dreaming. Perhaps you've had one, a sudden realization that the impossible scene around you is, in fact, a dream, and with that realization comes a startling gift. You are able, to some extent, to shape what happens next. You can fly if you choose. You can conjure doors and step through them. You may even linger in conversation with dream characters, asking them questions as though they were teachers. Lucid dreaming is rare but real, and scientists who study it find that parts of the prefrontal cortex, the logical regions, awaken within REM sleep, giving the dreamer this unique split awareness. For the storyteller, lucid dreams feel like stepping backstage during the play, able to glimpse both the stage and the machinery behind it. They remind us how powerful, how strange, how infinite the dreaming mind's canvas truly is. But not all dreamscapes are rosy. Nightmares visit us too. They barge in with stormy energy, leaving us shaken and sometimes fearful of sleep. Yet even nightmares have their place. Science tells us nightmares are natural rehearsals for coping with stress and danger, helping us build resilience. Imagine them as emergency drills conducted by the mind, unpleasant but ultimately protective. Storytellers add another perspective. Nightmares are mirrors, reflecting fears we swallow in daylight. In the safe stage of dreams, they are allowed at last to roar, be seen, and eventually released. And consider this. Even in the darkest nightmare, the story ends with waking. No terror lasts forever. The curtain always rises again to morning, reminding us that dreams are safe storms, the sound of thunder inside a cocoon. Now, in this vast range of dreamscapes flying adventures, recurring puzzles, lucid awakenings, shadowy nightmares, we find one marvel holds true. Our dreams, whether gentle or fierce, fleeting or vivid, are uniquely ours. No two canvases are the same. Science can map general patterns, but your dreams remain your private gallery, filled with paintings no one else will see the same way you do. Perhaps this is why humanity has always been enchanted by them. Doubtless you've heard ancient stories of dream-guided journeys, native peoples who sought animal spirits and visions, kings who sought guidance in prophetic dreams, poets who claimed their verses were whispered from sleep. Entire mythologies are woven from dream threads. Joseph's dreams in biblical tales, Gilgamesh dreams in Mesopotamian epics, Bodhisattva visions in Buddhist texts. Always, mankind has sensed that the night's canvas is not to be dismissed. And so we come to our gentle conclusion for this chapter. Why do we dream every night? Because without dreams, the canvas of our inner life would remain blank. Our nights would be silent where they should sing. Our hearts would carry burdens with nowhere to lay them down. Our creativity would lose an endless fountain. Dreams are the nightly brushstrokes that complete the painting of each day. In the quiet rhythm of dreaming, our minds pick up all that was scattered and fit it into shape. In the chaos of images, there is hidden order. In the sweetness or strangeness of plots, there is safe rehearsal. Night after night, canvas after canvas, the painting goes on. So when you rest tonight, think of yourself as both artist and canvas, storyteller and story. Behind your closed eyes, colors will bloom, shapes will form. Threads of memory, threads of emotion, threads of imagination will all twist together into secret masterworks only your heart can feel. And when morning comes, whether you awaken with only fragments or none at all, remember this truth. The canvas is richer for having been painted. You are lighter, fresher, steadier, because the dreaming mind has done its quiet work. That, dear friend, is one of the loveliest secrets of all. Chapter 3 is Journeys Through the Dreaming World. There is another way to think about the world of dreams, not simply as a canvas, not only as a theater, but as a great journey taken each night. For if you listen closely, you'll notice that your dreams often feel like travel. You move through streets, forests, oceans, skies, sometimes even otherworldly landscapes stitched together by imagination. It is as though, when the body rests, the dreamer within us ties a small bundle, steps out of the waking house, and wanders into the wide-open night. Consider how the brain makes this voyage possible. Deep within its intricate geography lies the hippocampus, the very same structure that helps you navigate actual spaces in daytime. At night, when the gates of dreaming open, the hippocampus continues to map and build landscapes, though they are no longer bound by earthly limitations. Streets turn in impossible circles, doorways lead to hillsides, and oceans stretch into deserts. Yet strangely, it feels entirely natural while you are there. Science suggests this constant dream journey is the brain rehearsing spatial awareness, strengthening our sense of place and direction, just as it rehearses emotions or memories. But the soul of the traveler knows something more. These are voyages not simply to practice movement, but to discover hidden valleys of our own inner world. Think of it like being given a passport every night. No country stamp, no customs lines, just immediate entrance into a borderless realm. Some nights it is short travel, a little stroll through a memory garden. Other nights it is grand adventure, with unfolding maps and challenges awaiting. Always it carries the pulse of movement, forward, onward, through. And if dreams are journeys, then the people we meet in them are our fellow travelers. How many times has a dream presented you with a face you don't recognize in waking life, yet they feel strangely familiar? The brain, clever in its artistry, takes fragments an old neighbor's laugh, a stranger's coat from years ago, the tilt of a friend's smile, and assembles them into companions for the dream path. Some are kind, teaching us wisdom or love. Others are unsettling, showing us aspects of fear or conflict. Yet all are guides in some way, pointing our inner traveler toward truths not easily spoken in waking light. There is something tender about this idea that each night we are not simply lying still, but voyaging inward, meeting messengers and visiting places created from our own imagination. For many, these nightly journeys become vivid enough to mark their waking lives. Recall how a person may awaken with a dream lingering so strongly that it colors their morning with a particular mood. It is as if they returned from travel and are still carrying the fragrance of another country on their clothes. Some journeys and dreams are playful. You might wander through markets of purple skies or ride trains that travel into clouds. Some journeys are mysterious. You find yourself in a childhood place, yet doors lead to unfamiliar rooms. Others are healing journeys. A dream carries you to sit once more with someone you miss, giving you a few moments of reunion, a gentle illusion that feels achingly real. The heart wakes both comforted and wistful. Scientists, curious as always, have noticed that many of these journeys have patterns. Night after night, people across cultures describe walking, running, driving, or flying. These are not coincidences. They are the brain's favored modes of symbolic travel. Walking often reflects steady progress, running mirrors urgency, flying reflects freedom or ambition. And losing direction in a dream often touches on confusion in the waking path. In this way, each journey becomes a coded map, both biology and metaphor at once. And what about those dreams where we reach for a destination yet never arrive? The packed suitcase, the train we miss, the street that loops endlessly around without finding the house we seek. These are some of the most common recurring journeys. Science might say they reflect the brain's rehearsal of problem solving under stress. Storytellers, however, hear something subtler, a reminder of our eternal human longing, our sense of searching for something just beyond reach. Dreams speak to us in these riddles gently, as if encouraging us onward in both night and day. Keep traveling, keep seeking, your destination waits in its own time. Some cultures long ago recognized dreaming as more than personal travel, it was collective voyaging. The Australian Aboriginal peoples, for instance, spoke of the dreaming or dream time, a sacred, mythic continuum where creation, ancestors, and spiritual lore exists not as history, but as an ongoing reality accessible in visions and dreams. In this view, each dream is not merely your own wandering, but a shared journey into a sacred space all humans are connected to. Even in modern psychology, remnants of this idea remain. Carl Jung believed that dreams often pull from a collective unconscious, a shared reservoir of archetypes and universal patterns, which is why dreams of flight, of falling, of chasing or being chased emerge across all cultures, and times like well-worn pathways on the map of the collective human soul. So tonight, as you slip beneath your blankets and rest your body, remember, sleep is not absence. It is a voyage. The traveler in you will rise as your body lies down. You will step out onto paths painted by memory and imagination across landscapes only you can know. Sometimes the road is winding, sometimes sharp, sometimes strange, but always purposeful. Even if you forget the path by morning, the journey was taken. Your inner traveler has moved, stretched, grown. Perhaps that is why we wake each day not only restored, but changed, sometimes subtly, sometimes profoundly. Dreams are not idle. They are the nightly journeys that reshape us, guiding us slowly but surely toward who we are becoming. So when next you find yourself drifting off, imagine it like climbing aboard a gentle ship, sails unfurling silently. The waves carry you into the dream sea, stars shining brightly above, unseen harbors waiting to be discovered. You are the voyager, the captain, the passenger, the poet, all at once. The maps are drawn within you. The destinations are waiting, and the voyage, dear dreamer, always begins as soon as your eyes close. Every journey, whether across oceans, forests, or skies, leads to somewhere. The journeys of your dream world are no different. Though they may not always have a clear map, they always carry you toward destinations, inner landscapes that tell a story about who you are, what you feel, and what you need. Think of the dreams that take you back to familiar places. A school hallway, a childhood home, the street outside a first job. These places may feel long gone in waking life, but in dreaming, they remain alive, waiting quietly for your return. Why does the dreamer's mind bring us to such places? Science smiles and answers. The brain stores memory with powerful attachment to place. We remember where we learned things, where we felt certain emotions, where we experienced joy or fear. So when the dreaming mind sifts through your life, it opens doorways back into those environments, like a traveler revisiting beloved or difficult cities. You may wonder, why am I in that dusty classroom again? The answer is not that the classroom matters as a place, but what you felt there does. Your mind pulls you back to walk those halls so it can gently polish the emotions that still linger. Then there are the dreams of new places, lands you've never walked in daylight. Dreams where you find yourself wandering streets of impossible architecture, villages built along floating cliffs, forests lit by colors that do not exist in waking life. When these dreams appear, scientists say your imagination is stretching its creative muscles, forming novel images by combining fragments of memory. Perhaps an old building you once passed merges with the pattern of seashells you once saw, creating a palace that never existed anywhere except your mind. The point is not geography, but imagination itself. Every new land your brain invents is proof of how endlessly creative the hidden mind can be when unburdened by rules. Dream travelers often find themselves in another type of destination, emotional landscapes. A dream might not be about where you are, but what the place feels like. A dark forest may be a forest, but more than that, it is loneliness painted in shape and shadow. A bustling market might not just be a scene, it is your joy and connection made vivid. The dreaming mind often creates environments that mirror feelings, which is why sometimes we wake with an emotion stronger than any detail of the dream itself. The destination may fade, but the feeling remains, a souvenir carried back into waking life. And oh, how curious the mystical destinations can be. Some dreamers describe soaring into light, or standing on mountaintops that hum with peace, or walking into ocean depths and breathing as if it were air. These visions feel symbolic, but also real, so real that people often wake with tears or awe or comfort. Science will say these are simply powerful activations of the brain's memory, visual, and emotional centers. But the dreamer may feel that for a fleeting moment, they touch something larger, something beyond themselves. Perhaps both explanations are true. Dreams are brain logic, yes, but they are also where mystery enters through the back door. One of the most profound journeys dreams take us on is to ourselves. Not the everyday self that drinks coffee, answers messages, and folds laundry, but the hidden self. The child inside us who still remembers wonder. The elder inside us who carries wisdom. The parts of us we often silence because daily life is loud. Dreams offer these versions of ourselves a stage. That is why sometimes you wake from a dream not with a clear story, but with a quiet certainty. I understand something now. The dreaming traveler has returned from a destination you cannot name, but its lesson lingers like cool water on the skin. And these lessons influence waking life more than we give credit for. Studies show that after dreaming, people perform better on creative problems, feel more emotionally balanced, even make stronger decisions. A powerful dream may seem like a midnight invention, but in truth, it is a compass, recalibrating your inner traveler before dawn. Think too of healing dreams. For some, a dream is a reunion with someone they've lost in waking life. They hold a hand, hear a voice, share a smile long after the person has passed from the waking world. Science will attribute this to memory replay neuronal patterns lighting up like lanterns in the brain. But to the heart of the dreamer, it feels like a visit. Real or not, the dream heals, softening grief in ways that daylight alone cannot. These destinations are gentle oases, places where sorrow can drink deeply of peace. Of course, not all destinations are restful. Nightmares take us to fiery landscapes, narrow alleys, flooding rooms. These are the mind's stormy corners necessary, but unsettling. Yet storms on a journey can serve too. They teach resilience, they reveal fears, they help us practice courage. And always, the storm ends. You wake safe in your bed like a sailor who has come through the night's gale to the calm of morning. Nightmares close their curtains as faithfully as gentle dreams do. It is wondrous, isn't it? Each night, the dreamer travels to so many destinations, places of memory, places of invention, landscapes of emotion, mystical scenes of wonder, personal mirrors of hidden truths, all waiting behind your eyelids like ports for the soul's ship. The secret, perhaps, is this: the destination matters little compared to the journey. A dream does not always hand us answers, but it always gives us movement. We leave one side of sleep, travel through symbols, feelings, rehearsals, and creativity, and reach the other side changed. journeys reshape those who take them, after all. Dreams do exactly that. So tonight, when you rest, think of sleep not as ending the day, but beginning the night's journey. You may walk through remembered rooms, or fly above glowing shores, or sit in tender reunion with voices you thought were gone. No matter the route, no matter the destination, trust that every dream carries purpose. And when you wake, know this, you returned. You, the traveler, stepped into landscapes only you could walk, only you could know, and you came back with the invisible souvenirs of healing, memory, and growth. That is the magic of being a nightly traveler. You are always changing, always moving, even when your body lies still. Chapter 4 is the secret still whispering every good story has two endings, the one the storyteller gives, and the one the listener carries quietly in their own heart. Dreams themselves are much the same. They show us what science can measure, the electrical storms of neurons, the rhythmic dance of REM sleep, and yet they also offer something no instrument can capture, the shimmering sense of mystery. To ask, why do we dream every night, is to stand at the shore of an ocean with two kinds of light, the lamp of science illuminating what lies close to the shore, and the starry sky above, hinting at what lies across the horizon. Already, science has waded further than we could once imagine. Electroencephalograms, EEGs, have traced the waves of sleep, showing the steady descent through stages: light sleep, deep sleep, and then the lightning river of REM. Brain imaging has revealed the flickering orchestras of visual and emotional networks, proving that dreaming is not random chaos, but structured activity with purpose. Experiments reveal how dreams repaint memory, process emotion, and even prepare us for future challenges. But the future of dream research still holds countless treasures waiting to be unearthed. Sleep scientists are exploring targeted dream manipulation using gentle sounds or subtle cues during sleep to help guide or influence dream content. Imagine soothing music that not only calms you but invites peaceful dreamscapes. Medical researchers are testing how dream rehearsal therapies can heal trauma, reworking nightmares into gentler narratives, allowing minds scarred by fear to reclaim safety during sleep. It is as if science is building tools to step into the dreamer's journey, not to conquer it, but to accompany it, to learn its language more fluently. Perhaps in time we may understand even more how the dreaming state connects to creativity, how dreams reflect mental health, how they might even predict or prepare us for challenges we cannot yet see. And yet, even as science grows sharper, dreams remain profoundly personal. For all the data collected, no machine can feel what your dream makes you feel. No experiment can fully translate the private symbolism of your grandmother's voice in a dream, or the bittersweet comfort of revisiting your childhood home. Dreams are not just data, they are art, they are memory, they are soul. Which brings us back to the other light, not the lamp on the shore, but the stars above. For as long as humankind has existed, we have looked at the mystery of dreams in woven myths, poems, and stories, and perhaps we always will. Because no explanation, no matter how precise, can fully quiet the awe. How is it that within the silence of sleep, entire worlds bloom? Why does each human heart become an unseen traveler? Think of all the great moments touched by dreams. A chemist dreams of a snake eating its tail and wakes to solve the puzzle of a molecule. A songwriter dreams of a melody and wakes with a tune that the world will one day sing. Artists, scientists, teachers, children all have carried fragments of dreaming into daylight, unwitting gifts of the night. Dreams are bridges, carrying ideas across the mysterious gap between the unconscious and conscious mind. Perhaps one day, science will map even those bridges with perfect clarity. Perhaps researchers will explain why we sometimes meet loved ones long gone, or why dreamscapes feel more vivid than waking ones. But there is a suspicion, whispered by poets and philosophers alike, that some pieces are meant to remain cloudy so that we may continue to wonder. And there's gift in that. Mystery asks us to lean closer. It reminds us that life is not only about answers, but about questions we can ask together beneath the starry canopy of existence. Why do we dream? Why must stories come each night? Why does the human heart need this midnight theater? These questions cradle us in wonder, even if we never hold the final answer. So perhaps the truth is double-edged and comforting on both sides. We dream because of necessity, the brain's vital garden, healing and trimming, storing and rehearsing. And we dream because of mystery art from within, symbols from the deep, a chance to wander where waking feet cannot go. The beauty lies in the fact that both are true. Every night, as you close your eyes, biology and poetry join hands. Science tints the neurons, imagination paints the skies, and together they carry you into the landscapes of dream. Think of dreams, then, as a kind of love letter from your own mind. A letter written in images rather than words, in symbols rather than sentences. A love letter saying, here is what needs to be healed. Here is what must be remembered. Here is what you still long for. Here is your creativity still alive and waiting for you. And though most mornings you forget to open the letter, still it was written. Still it did its work. Because the letter was not only meant to be read, it was meant to shape you quietly beneath the surface. So tonight, if you find yourself lingering on the question, why do I dream every night? Remember this answer. You dream because you are human. You dream because you are alive. You dream because every night the mind folds you gently into stories that repair, rehearse, reveal, and restore. This, dear listener, is no small magic. This is the ocean we all sail upon together, silent travelers carried on waves of sleep, star-guided by dreams. And as long as humans close their eyes at night, the dreaming will continue, part science, part mystery, entirely miraculous. The story of why we dream each night is large and winding, filled with science and imagination, explanation and mystery. As we reach the final arc of our tale, let us linger, just as a traveler pauses at the end of a long road, looking back at the mountains and rivers crossed. For within the journey, we discover that the answer is not only in facts written in books, nor entirely in myths whispered by poets, but in the weaving of both, stitched together by the gentle rhythm of night. We began with science, didn't we? With instruments that could measure the electric hum of the brain, with stages of sleep carefully documented by patient researchers. We learned that in dreaming, our minds perform essential work, tidying memories like a librarian sorting stories on shelves, softening emotions, untangling the knots left by the day, rehearsing scenarios, preparing us for challenges of tomorrow, igniting creativity, mixing images into new and surprising patterns, restoring balance, repairing the delicate thread of mind and body. Science revealed one truth. We dream every night because the mind requires it, because life without dreams grows jagged and unclear. And so, dreaming is not a gift reserved for some, nor an optional diversion. It is as necessary as breathing, an invisible activity that life quietly depends upon. But science was never the whole tale. As we journeyed further, we saw how dreams are also artistic canvases, painted with brushes dipped in memory and imagination. We saw how they are journeys too, carrying us across landscapes of childhood, across forests of longing, across seas of impossible color. Some nights we fly, other nights we chase and are chased. Other nights we reunite with voices we thought were gone. Always, the traveler returns, carrying home lessons that may or may not be remembered in words, but are remembered in the body, in the soul. And even with their data and diagrams, scientists themselves often admit mystery lingers. Because how can numbers alone explain the strange comfort of hearing your grandmother's voice in a dream long after she has departed? How can scans explain the startling joy of dreaming that you can fly, waking with wings still tingling on your shoulders? These mysteries remind us that dreaming is not only for function, it is also for wonder. That subtle shiver of awe we feel when telling someone, "I had the most curious dream last night." That fascination we share across all cultures, all ages, all centuries, as though dreaming is a secret circle all humans belong to. And indeed, it is. No matter your language, your homeland, or your time in history, you have dreamed. So have I, so has every soul before us. Dreams are a universal river, weaving through the heart of humanity itself. Some say dreams are practice grounds of the mind. Others say they are paths to the divine. Still others say they are the brain's clever housekeeping, and perhaps richly, wonderfully, they are all of these at once. For you, dreamer, there need be no strict answer. Instead, think of them as stories written for you, by you, every single night. Some stories are long epics, soaring across mountain ranges. Some are brief sketches, flickering before fading. Some feel tangled, some feel clear, and some vanish upon waking like sand slipping through open fingers. But all of them are valuable. All of them are part of your life's greater story. And here is the greatest comfort. Even when you forget them upon waking, your dreams remember you. They have done their work in the quiet chambers of your mind, leaving you lighter, calmer, perhaps a little braver. Whether or not you remember the play, the theater was alive within you. So tonight, as you drift toward rest, imagine your dreams as patient caretakers waiting at the edge of slumber. They're already preparing the stage, the backdrops, the painted skies, the hidden doors. Some actors rehearse the familiar ones from your life, and the strangers patched together by your imagination. The orchestra tunes softly, ready to play emotions and melody. And soon as your eyes grow heavy, the curtain will rise once more. The question, why do we dream every night, is answered in part by science, because we need to. It is answered in part by storytellers, because we long to. And perhaps it is answered in part by silence itself, because it is simply the way of being human. The truths and the mysteries do not cancel one another out. They embrace. Dreaming is both the machinery of the brain and the poetry of the soul. It is both survival and song, both instruction and art, and you, gentle listener, are both scientist and poet each night. You are both observer and participant. Each evening, with nothing more than closed eyes, you step into one of humanity's oldest and most wondrous mysteries. That is why, with gentle certainty, we know this. You will dream tonight. When the curtain falls on the day, when the silence of night gathers you up in its arms, the stories will come. Some you will remember, some you will not. That is not important. What matters is that they will happen, that restorative, mysterious weaving will unfold just as it has for countless lifetimes before yours, and will continue for countless more. So rest easy, dear dreamer. The secret of why we dream every night has been revealed in whispers of science and ripples of mystery. But the real answer is waiting for you in your own dreams tonight. Close your eyes, let the curtain fall. The ship is ready, the paints are mixed, the stage is set. The dreaming world is waiting. Good night.